Hi everyone, my name is Leslie Wubble. I've been a product manager for 3 years at a company called Predictum. Um, so I'm asked a lot by students at Penn State. I used to coach there for a little bit, and I've been asked kind of this question: what got you interested in product management in the first place? And one question I get a lot is, how did you get into product management? The truth is, actually, is that I had a very untraditional path with my journey into product management and into the tech industry. Um, I have been learning how to code for many years, and that's sort of been sort of a little bit of a hobby and a passion for me since high school. I think having that background helps a lot. But I think a more traditional path that so many students take is that they go to college for product management. They figured out so much sooner that they want to take this career path, and they network and they work with other people. But I think many people in industry, for example, they kind of find their way to the position. They learn about the world of product management and what it entails. And I think there's a lot of videos that explain what product management is. I think I'll make one, but that's pretty easy to answer. But let me just talk about like how did I get into it. So the first thing I did was I led a project in college. I actually had my own startup. I built a full stack product called Open Vessel, and I interviewed customers. I learned about their problem, and then I built a solution to try to solve their problem. This is a really complicated one in which, radiologists are trying to interpret CT scans, and there's thousands of CT scans. So they were looking for a computer vision technology to detect what's wrong in the CT scan, and that was especially difficult to pretty much make, right? And we didn't work out as a startup, but that project, because of that failure, I leveraged into my product management career. I actually was hired on as a, you know, account executive, and that's my first point. Also, is that you need to talk to customers and translate that into software somehow. That's a key skill. But when I was account executive, I learned pretty soon the product that I was trying to sell to the market wasn't as effective as I thought, and that really it needed kind of really a revamp or a reimagining or a recreation of what it was trying to do in the first place. And we did that as a full stack product, and that's how I became a product manager. And that's a very untraditional path. Is that I didn't go out of my way to find product management. I stumbled upon it by looking for, a job opportunity, which is most common for people in a way. But I think a majority of, I think students in college, anybody going to Stanford or Harvard, they have product management programs and they have certifications. There's also the Google course that you could take too. So that's just how I got into it. I don't think most people get into it, but maybe there's something you can learn here I can share you with. Now, the second thing I want to get down is like network and then narrow down. When I was in college, I think I made the same mistake everyone made. I was looking for a job, any type of job. And the first thing that worked for me was actually doing the first thing I did, and that was like build a software product, like a SaaS full stack software product. And narrowing it down actually just spoke a lot of value to whoever was trying to hire me if they were in that industry, if they were in that game, right? And really, when you narrow down, if you go to a networking event at college or anywhere, you need to kind of find your interest and find a professor who's, you know, behind that interest and express that direction. And say, like, I'm really interested in this. I want to learn more. I need help kind of finding a career. Could you keep me in mind for any opportunities? Are you working on any research? Are there any problems you're trying to have right now? And kind of like build that skill set. So, one big thing is that you need to look at problems as opportunities, right? Like, for instance, my problem on the YouTube channel is getting growth. Now, there's no one that can come out and say that can fix that for you. That's on me, where I need to improve my way of communicating, editing the videos, and making the thumbnail, right? So, the third thing is, what is product management about? And just to answer that initial question, is that most often you'll see an image like this. You'll see software, UX, and business overlaid. And somewhere in here is product management. Now, that's sort of true. I think everything starts with the customer, right? Like the customer, I'm not going to draw words because it looks terrible, but the customer is where you start and you develop a problem space. UX is answering the question, how how do we design the solution to the problem? Like how do we solve that problem and how do we make that a great experience to buy, open the software up, log in, do the actions that I find the most valuable, and kind of cut the fluff out a little bit. There's some little side feature some users will find valuable, right? And then another part of it is software development. Now, if you don't have experience, building an API or writing code, I recommend that you learn about those concepts. You don't need to build an API, but I think understanding how API works is going to be a critical part of your job to estimate how long something's going to take. You can have a simple feature like uploading. Well, that shouldn't take anybody very long. I wouldn't say it should take, more than 2 weeks if you're uploading a PDF or Excel file to something, right? As a feature. But if you're doing something more complicated like data version control, keeping track of changes every time a user uploads, or like any little additional feature can increase what I consider complexity there. Now, some people in the comments say like making a file like uploadable and safe and deployable is going to take a lot longer, and that's true. But depending on if you're a startup, you can move a lot faster than a 500 person company, a 1,000 person company, right? Those are the difference. Because if there's a process in place, of course, it's going to take you longer. But if you're a startup and you're a little smaller, you kind of need to move faster. Now, what product management is really talking about, like if you read the job descriptions, and that's really important, is go out and if you want to get into the industry, is read job descriptions and hit the keywords like collaborate. One key thing I tell people about is that soft skills matter. Leadership matters, right? You have hard skills like technology, but your soft skills, the ability to communicate a vision. What will this thing look like in a year? How will we get there? How much will it will cost us? Thinking about all those things and communicating those things appropriately is really important for your success. Now, leading that project initially helped me with the product manager position because that's what you'll be doing every day is talking to customers and getting a really strong product instinct, which I'm going to not spell correctly, or we're going to call it product sense because that's also another term that they use. People, when they're hiring someone, they're looking to see if they have great product sense. It's just evaluating if we implement this, like if I look at a feature, a small part of the feature might cost you $100,000 to implement. Now, how important is that feature? And you're going to be asked like, hey, can we cut this out? How bad will that affect the revenue and user retention? And you have to kind of make a gut call because a lot of smaller organizations, they, lack data. And without data, it's harder to make decisions. And you have to learn how to make gut decisions and really think about putting yourself in the shoes of customers and imagining what the software experience will be like. Now, most of the time, what you need to focus on is the value of what that software delivers. Like, what is the core piece of that? And that's where people try to figure out product market fit, right? What's the problem space? What's the solution space? What are the existing tools you have? And what's the problem they're having and how you can fit that together? Now, that's really hard to do in SaaS. If you think about SaaS, you're trying to do things at like scale. SaaS is, when you do B2B enterprise sales, you have time to kind of scope your work, do a request for a proposal, go over the proposal, get the PO over passed with. But SaaS is a little bit harder, it's so much more difficult because you don't have time to kind of directly negotiate with the person and learn what they care about because they're investing as much time in a B2B sale developing that solution. SaaS is a lot more difficult. But the great thing about SaaS companies is that you have, thousands of users, thousands of them, and you can A/B test. And what do I mean by A/B testing is that you can say this one feature we're doing, we're recording how many people work with it, how long do they stay on the page, how many clicks they get on a button, and a second design, that's design B, how much are they interacting with that? And you can tell through data science and analytics or what you're looking for is statistically significant, right? Which one are they using more than the other, and is that provable in, you know, we're getting like into math and statistics, but statistically significant, like a hypothesis testing. That's all you're doing is hypothesis testing, is you're optimizing a process, right? But that's why I say it's mostly about you're pulling together all the pieces in a company, from the sales to marketing to user design, UX design, the software engineers, the DevOps people, IT people, and even the customers, all across that train. You need to pull that solution across and deploy it. And that can be a really difficult journey. And I have a lot of videos to talk about that in the future. So I think that's all I have to say on product management. That's just kind of like off the top, my honest opinion about what that is without being scripted for you. So look, I code, I design, I have consulting services on my website. So if you're interested in getting your software scoped out and like know what you need to build to get it out there really quickly, kind of learning some tips of how I've kind of deployed things online, you can consult me. I'm also working on a book. So in September, I'm going to write a book by then. But if you sign up now in the newsletter, you'll get the book in a free PDF form from me over email. And after that, after it's released, you know, you have to buy it for $7 or something. But thanks for watching. I really appreciate you, everyone who subscribed to my channel. All 600 of you subscribed to me. I don't really know why, but tell me in the comments. And if you have any other questions, I would really love to know if you have any other questions so I can kind of answer that. Thanks.